Hi, Scott.
Hello.
Hello. Well, you were born in 1963. Do you still recall the first album that you bought?
First album that I bought with my own money?
Yes, your own money.
Kiss Alive.
Kiss Alive.
Yeah.
How old were you?
Would have been 11.
And why did you want to buy this album?
Because I had heard Kiss on the radio. I heard Rock and Roll All Night on the radio, and I loved that song. And then I saw them on television, and saw what they looked like too. You know, because when I heard it on the radio, I didn't know that they had all this makeup and costumes, and I just really liked the song.
Yeah.
And then I saw them playing on TV, and I saw them play Rock and Roll All Night. I was like, oh my God, that's the band that plays that song. And then like in the next day or two, I went to the record store, and they had Kiss Alive, and that's the one I saw, so I bought Kiss Alive.
Did you already play the guitar back then?
Yeah, I started guitar when I was about 8 years old, I think.
And how come 8 years old, 1971? What triggered you into playing the guitar, picking up the guitar?
My dad always had an acoustic sitting around in the house, and he didn't really play. He could play a couple of chords, but it was actually just watching music on television when I would see things on TV. Just really, I remember as a kid I saw The Who on TV, and when Pete Townsend was doing a windmill with his arm, I just thought it looked really cool.
Yeah.
So that was one of the many reasons why I was interested in it. Yeah. You know, we had a guitar in the house, and it was just interesting to me, so I wanted to learn how to play it.
What songs did you play? Do you still recall when you were young?
I played a talent show in my school, you know, when I was probably, I don't know, 9 or 10, and I played Wipeout, the instrumental, and I played Bad Bad Leroy Brown from Jim Croce, and I played Blowin' in the Wind from Bob Dylan. I remember as a really little kid playing those songs.
And when did you make the transition into, well, what became Anthrax, the music style? Because you said, well, those songs that you just described, then Kiss and...
Well, in the late 70s, 78, 79, 80, in those years is when I really started to get into heavier, harder music. You know, I was a rock kid, you know, all the stuff I got into initially was stuff like Kiss and Ted Nugent, The Who, Led Zeppelin, you know, Cheap Trick, the Ramones, Aerosmith, you know, all that 70s rock music. And then AC/DC actually. AC/DC was like 1978 is when I got into them. And
how come?
A friend of mine played it. He had, I think he played Powerage, maybe had come out, and Rock and Roll Damnation was like the first song I heard from AC/DC, and Riff Raff is on that record, and I had never heard something so fast like as that song, and Bon's voice was so different sounding, and AC/DC quickly became like my favorite band. And then from getting into AC/DC, then me and my friends, we were just always looking for the new, like the most underground or the newest, hardest, fastest, loudest, you know, music. Nobody said heavy metal yet in 1978. Nobody was using that expression really to define the type of music we were listening to. I think when I saw Judas Priest open for Kiss in 1979 in New York, and we actually went to see Judas Priest on that show. I was already out of Kiss. I didn't really... Kiss for me ended with Alive 2. I didn't really buy any more Kiss albums after that. But we were big Judas Priest fans already, you know, on like Hellbent for Leather. When that came out, we found out about Judas Priest, and so we went to see Priest, and I think that was my first real exposure to heavy metal, you know, was seeing Priest. It was like, holy shit. And so I could say in 79, that's when it really started to change. Of course, I was already into Sabbath, you know, but I never really, as metal as Sabbath was, I didn't really associate them, because to me, Sabbath, you know, they came with all the stuff I was listening to from earlier with Zeppelin and Kiss and everything else when I was little. But when I got into Priest, and then of course 1980 was the big year. I mean, that was, you know, Priest and Maiden and Motorhead and Saxon, the whole new wave of British heavy metal hit. And me and my friends were we were in the record store, you know, every day just looking for new import records try and find a new band. And
Are there certain albums from the year that you still listen to this day?
yeah, in 1980, Ace of Spades came out. The first Iron Maiden album came out. Judas Priest put out British Steel. Black Sabbath put out Heaven and Hell. I forget which Van Halen album came out. I was a big Van Halen fan too. It was an unbelievable year for hard rock and heavy metal. I mean, just to think that Ace of Spades and the first Maiden record came out in 1980s, and British Steel, 3 of the best metal records of all time.
And what sort of songs did you write yourself back then?
I wasn't really writing songs yet.
No?
Not really. No. For me, it more started when Anthrax started in 1981. I played with other people before that, but it wasn't until really we started Anthrax that I really tried to write songs. You know,
But why did you start the band then?
because I wanted to be in a band.
Okay, so no, but I thought maybe you had some songs and you were already writing.
No, I just like jamming with people. I just always wanted to play guitar with other people.
Yeah.
Sitting in my house by myself playing guitar was really boring. I always wanted to play with a band, with a drummer, or another guitar player, a singer, and just be able to play.
And how do you look back on those first 3 years of Anthrax? Before
A lot of work.
Before the first album came out.
Yeah, so much work, nonstop, every day. We would rehearse 7 nights a week. We were rehearsing all the time, trying to be better and trying to write songs and trying to become a band and be tight and trying to find the right people to be in the band, people who had the same drive and the same, focus, people who truly believed that we could do this, That may have been the hardest thing, was actually finding people that cared as much as I did, because most people didn't. They would be happy to play in the band, but as soon as it came to, hey, everyone needs to chip in $100 so we go make a demo tape. Oh, I'm not paying any money. Well, you need to, We're trying to. Oh, why? We're never going to do anything. Okay, you're fired. If you really truly believed in it, you would do anything for the band, and that's how I felt. That's how Dan Lilker felt back then. We truly believed that we were gonna do it,
And songwriting wise, did you practice? What did you do? Practice a lot, or wrote many songs that got dismissed, or?
You just try, just come up with ideas. Danny Lilker was a really great songwriter. He would come up with really cool riffs. So I learned a lot just from watching him, because he wrote most of the music on Fistful of Metal. I mean, most of those riffs were ideas most of the songs were songs that stemmed from ideas that Danny came up with. So I would just watch what Danny would do, and I would just try and copy, in a sense, just like, play something on guitar and go, this sounds kind of cool, and then the whole band tries to play it, and either it's good or it's not, I mean, I don't really know how you become a songwriter. You practice, you work at it, I always just tried to come up with ideas that I would like to hear, like, oh, that sounds like something, if I heard another band playing it, I would like that song, I would like that idea,
And how do you look back on the 80s? Because you had a lot of albums, well, I think 2, 4, 5 albums within 4 or 5, 5 or 6 years. What sort of time frame were you in? What was it like for you, those first years?
We're just working all the time. We never ever had a moment to even really stop and think. We were always from the time we made Fistful of Metal, and then that record came out in 1984. We didn't stop. The whole 80s into the 90s. I think the first time this band ever took a break was 1996. So I could say pretty much from 81 to 96, I never stopped working 1 second. Whether we were writing songs, recording a record, or being on tour, we were always, as soon as the tour would end, we'd be writing songs and then making a record. And as soon as the record was done, we'd be out playing shows. And it wasn't until 1996 that we made a conscious decision to, let's take 6 months off.
Why?
Because we needed a break. Yeah. Sometimes you need time to maybe, remember who you are as a human being,
And how do you look back music-wise on those years?
Oh, it's great. I love it.